why Comstice Desktop Agent, you might ask, because obviously we are going against the tide. Cisco is promoting the Finesse web interface. They are promoting more configurable, programmable Finesse. Why are we doing something that's opposite of what Cisco is promoting these days? It came out purely from the customers. We had no intention to do Finesse gadgets because, as you know, browsers are getting more and more security conscious. These security policies and the certificates, SSL certificates, etc. It's quite painful to support, and we kind of opted out ourselves from the Finesse gadget era. But then, based on the customer feedback, we decided to build an application. They said we want something that is independent from the browser, and they said we want something compact, we want something small, because browser obviously occupies the full screen estate, and agent has lots of other tools that they need to use. And they also said they don't like the idea of embedding the call controls into CRM web pages. It sounds like a one-stop shop, but the agent practice, supervisor practice is very poor, and it in fact increases the call handle times, they said. And also the better notifications, because of the limitations in the browser, notifications are more restricted. And then they also looked at the features like, they said, we don't want to install this. We don't want to upgrade every time we upgrade Cisco Finesse or Cisco UCCE, UCCX. That's why we built this client application. Without further ado, let's introduce Comstice Desktop Agent. It's a compact client application that doesn't require any additional server for Finesse functionality. As you can see, it can be modified, and it can configure itself for based on the customer information. So any customer that who are working with us today, we provide them a license, which we call company code, which embeds the license and the configuration. And using that license, they also retrieve the company settings, so all the Finesse settings, all the call manager settings that they might need, all the other settings that they might use for the notifications, thresholds, etc. They can retrieve that. All the CRM integration related settings, they can retrieve that, and they can just use a simple company code and access to that data. So when agent or supervisor logs in, the same client for the agent and the supervisor, by the way, no different executables. Some features are, some additional features are available for the supervisor if the user has the supervisor rights. There was a question about single sign-on. It's part of the single sign-on as well. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them to the question section. It is part of the single sign-on. If you started to use single sign-on, you can also use this client application with a single sign-on feature as well. If you want to use your third-party LDAP, as long as they follow the standard LDAP guidelines, that can be possible too. So when agent first logs in, she can see the agent states. We can change our states. We can set ourselves ready, not ready. And then an agent can see her state percentages. I've already played with this client using this agent today, so you can see my state distribution. There are some team messages that supervisors or team leaders can create that might be used to communicate with the agents, and when they create those messages, they can be color-coded, so that can be something that agents want to use. And as you can see, because I'm on a break, so any reason code that has the word break in it, like lunch break, coffee break, immediately starts to increment the break duration, and that gives agent an opportunity to monitor their overall break duration. We can see the calls in queue and oldest in queue in a moment, and then I can see the snapshot of my calls. And then these are the breakdown of the calls. In case I've got multiple calls in queue, I can see which queue has how many calls and what's the oldest waiting. And we can see the queues that agent cannot take calls. And you might say, why agent should bother? It's important for the misqueued calls, which I'll explain. Agent can see their stats, how many calls they answered, average handle time, average speed of answer, average longest, and total durations, and call logs, obviously any incoming and outgoing calls that they've made. And if there is a incoming call from the queue, they can see also the call variables. The Phonebook feature helps agent to create, first of all, their own contacts, so they can create their own contacts, as well as they can go to CUCM corporate directory. And if CUCM is already integrated with the Microsoft AD, the results will include the Microsoft AD contacts as well. And then they can then add that to their contacts. Finesse Phonebook is also accessible from here. One question I can see is whether it has the soft phone enabled. The current version does not have soft phone enabled. There are various reasons for that, but we have a soft phone enabled version. There's the SIP client enabled version. If there is such requirement, we can provide that as well. That's also available. And then afterwards, seeing the team availability. So what I'll do right now is I will log in another agent. I've got my Comstice mobile agent app, which is again another Finesse client, as I mentioned, and I will log my agent here. I'll go to ready state. I'll go to not ready state. Let me just set that to not ready state. And then let me just minimize this. So as you can see, as a supervisor, I can see that agent, and I can hover my mouse, and I can see their reason code when they're not ready state. I can set this agent to ready. So because I'm a supervisor, I can set this agent to ready, and then I can set them to not ready. And on the mobile app as well, I am an agent, so I can do the other way around. I can set this agent ready. Not, I think maybe I'm not supervisor on this one. Okay, so let's just minimize this here. The Supervisor Console has the agent view, which they can see the agent details, and it also has the team queue, which helps you to see the team information. And then you can prioritize based on the calls received, calls in queue, oldest in queue. The outbound section is not necessarily the dialer type of outbound, but any callbacks that agents have made, internal or external numbers. As you probably know, some customers, lots of agents do callbacks. You can monitor those. And manual call routing is something quite interesting. We can influence the calls waiting in the queue. So we've got, obviously this requires an additional server. Comstice Wallboard can be used for this if you already have Wallboard, or we can supply an additional server. This helps agent and the supervisor to interrupt the calls waiting in the queue. So instead of seeing 5 calls in queue, 3 calls in queue, we can see who's calling, which number they called, and which queue they are currently waiting, and what's the wait time. And based on your script logic, if you can identify the customer, you can also set some flags, like if they wait too long, if they are a premium customer, you can set the premium, or if the CEO is calling the IT help desk, they might recognize the caller ID, and then they can put the VIP type of thing, payment pending, etc. And after that, you can actually come here and select one of the available agents who's currently logged in, and send this call, take this call out of the queue and send this call to the destination of your choice. Agents can only send this call to themselves. Supervisor can send this call to any other agent or internal or external number. So it can be also an internal number or an external number. Obviously, something that the Comstice UCM can dial. And then when they click send, the call will be sent and will be cleared from the queue, and it will be dequeued, taken out of the queue, and sent to the destination of your choice. Again, it's an interesting feature, and we've got a video that shows that demonstrates live as well. Let's make a few test calls so we can see what it looks like when there's a call in queue. So when a call comes in, we are in not ready state. I can see that there's a call waiting in the queue, and then I can also scroll down and I can see which particular queue. And also, if I'm a supervisor, I can also go to that particular queue and I can say who can take this call, and I can see the list of agents who might want to take this call. Let me just make this. Yeah, I can see the list of agents who might want to take this call, or who are eligible to take this call. And if you click on this icon, you can make that agent ready, and then automatically, obviously, the call is expected to go to that. When certain thresholds are reached, like calls in queue, oldest in queue, this box will be color-coded. That's a visual indication of there's something going beyond the limit. Without further ado, let's answer the call and let's see what it looks like. So this is the active call. I'm going to answer that. Just lower the volume again. So in the active call, what do we see? We see the calling party. We see the call variables. We can edit the call variables. And then we can set up a reason code if you want to. And then changes are saved successfully. Hold, consult, and direct transfer, etc. You can do that from here. One thing that is interesting is if this call is misqueued, you can send this call to the right queue with just one click. So if you scroll down to the other queues, let's say this needs to go to the US sales. This was misqueued, customer typed the wrong menu option. And what all you need to do as an agent is right click here, and then it says, would you like to transfer the active call to the US sales? And as soon as you click OK, the call is sent to the right queue, the pilot number of that queue. So how do we know? How does this client know which number to send? There is a specific naming convention in the Finesse phonebooks that you create a phonebook called Comstice queues. And then you add all the queue names there with the corresponding pilot numbers, so that client can know and query that phonebook if there's a misqueued call. And another thing is what happens if we need to see the CRM details of this customer. What's the CRM integration look like? So I'm already logged into the CRM interface here. I'm just gonna click on this CRM icon, and then as soon as I click on this icon, I should see the CRM details of the customer here. So as you can see, this account number corresponds to the identifier at the end of the URL, and using the direct URL features on many CRM platforms, without any development, without any customization on your CRM or on the desktop agent application, we can see, we can launch the CRM page. It can either be manual or on the desktop agent settings we will go through, you can also launch this CRM page automatically as soon as the call comes in. And it's a team level setting. And for that particular team, we can set that for that team. So agent can't disable, enable themselves. And as soon as the call comes in, they can see the CRM page of the caller on their default browser. Okay, so let me just minimize that and let's terminate this. One of the things that customers asked, obviously, what happens when the agent is in not ready state? Let me just check whether I'm in not ready state. I'm not. So we've got two agents, both of them are in not ready state. Agent minimized her screen, and I've got a call. I've got an active call. I just created an active call, and the agent is either taking a break or stretching herself, not really paying attention to what's happening. But in the background, you might be hitting some thresholds, you might be hitting some limits, and that's agent needs to be notified, especially when they are working remotely. They don't know that there's a call waiting. Because this is a native app, it can pop up when the certain thresholds are reached. As you can see, it just pops up and it shows itself that there's a call waiting. And if agent is actually available to take the call, or she's just about to finish her break, she can come here and take that call. And this can be just a pop-up, or this can also be audio alert as well. We on this team, the audio alerts are disabled, but you can enable it on the team level, so that it might also give you give an audible alert, especially for the agents who are working from small offices, who might not be paying attention to their screen. An audio alert will help them to be notified. And then as soon as the call comes in, as soon as the thresholds are reached, they can be seeing what's happening. Let's have a look at the UCCE version. The one that we just went through was the UCCX version. Many things are pretty much the same, but UCCE version has different features for the supervisor. Let's just use this. Okay, so this is the UCC version. Pretty similar, I would say. All those features are the same. The Supervisor Console might be slightly different. So if they don't have Comstice Wallboard, they see less data here. So if I can make myself, they can see the agent states, they can see the team queues, and the availability of the agents. And there's also a reskilling feature that is available without any additional server in UCC, as you know. You can, as a supervisor, you can select the team, you can select the agents, and then you can remove the skills from that agent. You can do the same for the skill, so you can come here and select a particular skill and then unassign the agents. And then you can also, if you're using the precision queuing, you can also set the attributes to the agents as well. And then you can set the default skill group and reset the agent's password if they are not under the SSO. So this is the UCCE version. Let's have a look at what are the potential questions are. Citrix support. Yes, we do have Citrix support, so you can run this client application under the Citrix without any additional server, or without making anything extra. Language support, we support up to 10 languages. The Arabic is excluded right now, but it is coming soon. So all the Latin languages that you might think of, we are supporting right now. How does the upgrade and the installation work? So there's an installer version and there's a click and run version. Mostly customers install it because they don't have to uninstall it again for an upgrade. So the upgrade works in the way that because we are using Finesse APIs, Finesse APIs that we use don't change from version to version in UCC and UCCX. They are pretty much the same. They might add new features, but it won't affect what's already in here. So when you move to a new Finesse version, minor or major, you don't have to upgrade this client application. So this client application is not Finesse version dependent. Okay, how does the upgrade work? What you need to do is you need to drop the upgrade file or the folder to an SFTP server. There are certain guidelines. We need to know the SFTP server IP address beforehand, etc. But from that SFTP server, when you relaunch the application, every time the application is launched, it checks whether there is an update on that SFTP server, and if there is, copies automatically. There is no uninstall, reinstall kind of action required, and the update is just updating some files. There is no again, as I said, uninstallation needed, and you only have to upgrade when there's a bug fix, when there's a new version of Finesse, so the desktop agent, because we've got some new features enabled, etc. You don't need to upgrade. In fact, there's no point to upgrade when you upgrade your UCC or UCCX environment. Is it customizable? Well, it is configurable, but obviously it's not customizable. But if you can give us some feedback about what you would like to customize, we can definitely look at it. I mean, technically, you can move these sections around. You can, reorder them. But again, we need to get more the business case. Just for the sake of technical capability, we don't want to add a feature. There's a kind of a business reason, we would be really interested. Almost 90% of the client features, the Comstice Desktop Agent features, are due to customer feedback. So your feedback is extremely important for us. Failover, failback, yes, it can do failover, failback. So when, if you lose connectivity, let's say you're in a remote office, I'll lose my connectivity to the central server. It tries to fail over to the secondary. I think the timeout is 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds, it tries Finesse 1 and Finesse 2, and then as soon as it finds an active Finesse, it creates the connection, and it makes itself available. Agent greeting in the UCCX, as you know, UCCX agent greeting is now not available in the Finesse, but we created a workaround server-side application that requires a server element. Just to remind you that we almost all of our customers, we bundle desktop agent with Comstice Wallboard because of various reasons. But mostly customers quite like both of them together. So Comstice Wallboard server can be used, which is a Linux-based server, quite scalable and reliable. Omni-Channel, yes, we do Omni-Channel. I'm not going to go through the Omni-Channel. There's going to be a separate session for Omni-Channel because Omni-Channel is very detailed, and we have a very powerful mobile-first Omni-Channel. What do I mean by that is, customer can start a web chat and continue as a mobile chat. An agent can handle that kind of chat request from our Omni-Channel interface, as well as the email ticketing system and the callbacks. It's very interesting and interesting to see. We are trying to make customer chat more accessible through mobile, and I'll explain in the coming webinars how we do that. Recording support, yes, we do have recording support. If you are using Calabria recording or a native UCCX recording, you can start the recording. When there is an active call, if the recording is enabled, you will see start recording, stop recording buttons. So if there is some sort of a pause, agent can manually stop the recording and restart the recording, and it's only today for Calabrio recording only. Any other questions that you might have? So wallboard is a separate purchase, but we can bundle it. The price, technically they are separate, but the pricing perspective, obviously when we bundle it, you get a better price. And in terms of the licensing as well, it's the per agent licensing. You can have perpetual as well as annual recurring licensing, because many customers are moving to HCS now, and HCS providers might be interested in offering annual recurring licensing instead of the perpetual licensing. So we have both options, and it's per named agent, not the concurrent agent. And there was another. Does offer a cue card screen pop when the agent can read a script. Cue card screen pop, yes. That screen pop is also available. So if you want to publish some text to the agent, so agent can read, instead of using agent greeting, for example, if agent can read some predefined text, that can also appear on the incoming call at the bottom of the pop-up window that we saw. I didn't enable that on this demo, but that is also available. So it can be per agent text, per agent level text that you can pre-populate. And that can again be part of the configuration, so you don't need an additional server for that either. We're pretty much on the hour, on the half hour, so if you have any other questions, okay, I've got two more questions, and I'll explain how you can test this. So you can test this in your own environment. From next week onwards, we will notify you. You can create your own 30-day trial license, and you can test in your own environment. Today, you can download either the executable or the portable versions and try it in the Cisco Demo Cloud. For the UCCE, company code is DCL 101. UCCX DCL 201. That presentation, including this information, will be delivered to you close of business today. Desktop Agent is currently under IVT testing, and end of March, hopefully beginning of April, it will be available under Cisco Plus. That was, again, one of the questions. As well as the mobile agent. So Desktop Agent and the mobile agent will be under Cisco Plus, so you can order through Cisco Plus, Cisco Solution Plus as well.